All right, welcome everybody to the Wednesday afternoon team call, the 30-minute mentor series. We have a guest on that we had on a couple weeks ago, so we're extremely grateful that she was willing to come back on and speak to us again. When I first talked to her, she had a couple of topics that she wanted to share with us, and I loved all of the topics, so I wanted to get her back on. So we're grateful for that, but I'll reintroduce you in just a minute, Z. First of all, I just want to remind you guys we're in the Team Cup right now. We're already halfway through the month, so keep working hard. You know, it's all about, what I want from you guys is that each day you just give and do your very best. So that's all I'm asking for you guys as you work on building your business and your transformations. I know many of you guys are on the 80-day obsession. I just have to say this program has been an absolute game changer for me and for my business. It's been a long time since I've had as much success as I have with my challengers getting results. Each week, just seeing them excited about what they're doing and the progress they're making. And I see that in myself as well. So, and what's the success leaves clue tip there is I've been 100%. I've made a couple small little mistakes on the nutrition, but I've been all in on the workouts, the meal plan, and really learning and understanding that. And the cool thing about when you do that is you have something to talk about with people, and you have a story to share with people. That's what people really connect with. So if you're not doing a program right now, or you're just kind of floating around trying a program here, a program there, my invite to you is to pick a program and finish it start to finish. So the next event that we have coming up is the April 7th Super Saturday. Super Saturday is a quarterly event with Beachbody. One of the main things that you can do to build your business is to attend live events. So I want to challenge you guys to mark your calendar for April 7th and make the decision to be at your local Super Saturday. They're going to be in the US, Canada, and in the UK. Gabby and I will be traveling to Edmonton, Canada, and that's where we'll be for a Super Saturday. The next thing that I want you to make an invite to is I want you guys to come to Coach Summit with us. The dates for Coach Summit are June 21st through June 24th. It's a Thursday evening through a Saturday night. It's going to be absolutely awesome. There's going to be a great keynote speaker there. And I'll just tell you what, just paying the summit ticket price just to go see that one keynote speaker will be a life-changing thing for you and your business, let alone all of the other workshops and celebrations that you get to have at Summit. So I want you to make the decision, and then let's set goals on how to pay for your travel, pay for your hotel, and make your investment back. But I can tell you the one thing that has changed my business year after year is being at Coach Summit. So make sure that you go, but that you're also inviting your coaches to come with you as well. So I'm going through these quickly because I want to get over to our guest speaker. She's on here right now. We have Z. She talked to us just a couple weeks ago about working a full-time job and working a Beachbody business. She joined as a challenger in June of 2015, and she became a coach 2 weeks later. So there's a note that I want you guys to know from that as you listen to Z talk with us today. You don't have to wait until your customer has done a program for 90 days or an entire year before you talk to them about being a coach. You should be planting those seeds continually throughout their journey and through your conversations with them. She has 31 months in Success Club. She's a 5-star diamond and went from diamond to 5-star diamond in 1 year. And she's 2018 elite coach, and she quit her corporate job that she had, her career that she had for 12 years after 1.5 years of Beachbody coaching to do this full time. So with that being said, I'm going to say Beachbody does not guarantee any level of success or income. Each coach's success is dependent on their own diligence, effort, and skill. But today's topic is specifically for, I want to just prelude this. We're teaching Instagram stories and all these other things on social media that you can use to build your business. And as you learn things each week, you don't have to do them all. We're just bringing on people that are sharing things that are working and giving you ideas. And then it's up to you to find which of those platforms works best for you. So today's call is specifically teaching you how to recruit and build your business using LinkedIn. So with that being said, Z, I'm going to pass the time over to you.
Thank you, Scotty. Before I start, I have to say congrats, though, because I saw rankings come out last week, and your team and you were way up there. So congrats.
Yeah.
to all of you guys. And I'm glad that Scotty, started sort of prefacing with the fact that there is a lot out there and you have to do what feels right for you. And for me, Facebook, when I started, was kind of how I built my business. At the time, because I was in corporate, I didn't want to have a public Instagram. I worked for a very conservative HR company. And so I built my Instagram, but a private Instagram is not like a private Facebook. And I had a LinkedIn that at the time, I want to say maybe I had 1,000 connections on there. And here I am like trying to grow my Facebook. And I'm like, I've got 1,000 connections sitting on this platform that are just sitting there. And I slowly started to dabble and I played around with it and I made some mistakes on it and I tried treating it like Facebook. I tried, and just finally about 8 months ago or so, I really found my place with LinkedIn. And the cool thing about it is I had a paid account through LinkedIn and I found that the free account actually works a lot better. So that's the best part, is that I don't invest at all. I don't pay for the recruiter account anymore. And I'm going to teach you guys how you can do that. And then also, even if you don't have a LinkedIn, you can actually build it very fast. And so I can teach you, if it's something you're interested in, how you can build your LinkedIn and start using it. So that's why LinkedIn for me, originally attracted me, because I had those connections. But here's what I tell everyone, whether or not you have the connections, why LinkedIn is a social media platform, and it is a social media platform that you want to pay attention to. It was purchased by Microsoft, and they've put a lot of money to revamp LinkedIn. They want it to compete with the big guys like Facebook and Instagram. As of right now, they're rolling out live video, and they're slowly rolling that out to their users. And so you can see that they've put a lot of money into building LinkedIn. Sorry, guys, my cat. If I lock him out of here, he'll just scream at the door. So it's a recruiting and social selling site, and that's what they call it. If you think about, and I'm not anti-Facebook, Facebook is a huge part of my business, but I just want to compare. Facebook, that's the last thing it wants to be, is a social selling site if you're using your personal page. It actually, Mark Zuckerberg wants us to actually pay for advertisements, and on our personal page, stop selling, right? Where LinkedIn actually calls itself a social selling and recruiting site. And therefore, the people that are on the site have an expectation that they're going to be recruited. And they might be the same people on Facebook, but they view their LinkedIn differently. 75% of users access LinkedIn on their cell phones. That's huge, because we run a lot of our business on here, and you can catch them in the moment. So it's not like they have to be on a computer where you're going to send a message and then maybe catch them a few days later. Most of the users are using LinkedIn on the app. Okay, so that's some of the background on LinkedIn. A couple other things I'll just throw in there. This is not going to be forever, but right this minute, there's not a lot of MLMs on there. Okay, so I don't get a lot of people messaging me about MLMs. And when they do, I have to just say they do it wrong. Like, it is just awful. And we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it in a much better way. So it really has not been tapped into by the MLM market just yet. And I think we have a small window of time where I can say that. Okay, so let's talk about what to do and what works. You are building relationships just like you are on Facebook. And I'm actually going to do a screen share and walk you guys through my LinkedIn, but I want to go through a couple of things first. But the relationship building is a little bit shorter because people expect it to be. You are not going to build a LinkedIn relationship and use the form method, right? Like, they're thinking, okay, you're here to recruit me. Why are you asking about my dog and my kids, right? So you're going to build it very quickly and jump right into the recruiting. And I'll show you my word tracks. And it has to be worked very consistently. And there's a method that I use, okay? What you don't want to do is to post the same content, okay? There are people that do it, but I will tell you it's not received as well, and that's posting like before and afters all over your feed. You can still talk about fitness. You can still give tips. The best posts that I've done are actually business related or tips for living a healthy lifestyle. But I do not say that I'm a Beachbody coach on LinkedIn, okay? So you have to find a message that speaks to you, and you guys will see my site in just a minute, but I do not put that I'm a Beachbody coach on my LinkedIn. I use my company name as my team name. So that's what I have as my company name. Okay. So what you're going to want to do before I screen share, if you have a profile or if you're building one, right when you log into your profile, I can't screen share this part because I'm already past that on my LinkedIn. It's going to ask you if you want to add more connections. And you want to go ahead and take that step because everything we're going to do is based on those initial connections that you have. Now, I recommend you stay away from Beachbody connections, and here's why. If Scotty and I are linked, all of the functions and activity, and I think we might be linked, but you probably want to delete me. If we are linked, here's what happens. Everything we do on LinkedIn is based on second degree connections, not third, not fourth, not first. First, we assume you've already kind of gone through them, and if you haven't, I'll show you how. But really, it's second degree is where the heart of this is. Well, I don't want my target audience to be Scotty's second degree. His first degree connections be my second degree. Does that make sense? Because his first would be my second. So you want to stay away from Beachbody. And when LinkedIn walks you through that, they're going to base your connections off of your email. So just sort through it and connect with anyone, even if they are not a fit for this business. Connect with anybody outside of Beachbody, because we want to search their second connections. So even if you have someone and that person would no way be a fit for our company, still add them. That's completely fine because they might be connected to somebody else who you do want to speak to. And we want the more connections you have, the more capability to hit second connections, okay? All right, so I'm gonna do a share screen and kind of walk you guys through what I do on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, if you guys wanna just maybe type them in the chat screen, and then I don't think I'll be able to see it when I'm sharing screen, so maybe Scotty, you can just read them out. Sound good? And then at the end, we can do questions as well. Okay, so I am gonna share my screen and take you guys actually to my LinkedIn. Let's just go to my homepage. So on my homepage here on the left-hand side, it's gonna show me like who's viewed my profile, if you post a video, how many people have seen it. Those numbers, you know, I don't have a paid account, so I can't see who viewed it, but I don't think it's worth it to pay for the account because I actually did better recruiting when I didn't have a paid account because the second connections are gold. So on this homepage right here, see where it says My Network? I'm gonna click on that. And where it says you have more contacts to connect with, I'm not gonna go through this because I've already gone through it and there's nobody else I need to add, but if you haven't used your LinkedIn in a while, you are going to want to go through that and build your connections up, okay? So let the wizard walk you through that process. Now, whenever you log in and you go to My Network, LinkedIn is always going to have some suggested connections for you. I highly recommend you go through these and start connecting people. My target market is women. My husband builds LinkedIn too, so I let him talk to the guys, which is why there's so many guys up here because I haven't connected with them. And so I'll just scroll through and I'll just see someone and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna connect with her. I'm gonna connect with her and just add 15 to 20 a day. If you do 25, it's fine, but if you're doing like 30, 40, and you keep doing that repeatedly, LinkedIn is gonna put you in LinkedIn jail. You can apologize and get out of it, but you can't keep doing that. So I try to limit it to about 15, 20, because any more than that, they're going to want me to pay for a recruiter account. Okay, so that's the first thing I do is I just go through there and I add connections. And then what I want to do is I want to start searching for certain demographics. These are the ones LinkedIn suggested for me. I'm going to go up here to the search bar and I'm going to click on people. And this is what's crazy, you guys. It's actually suggesting 2.7 million people for me. Absolutely insane how many people are on this platform that it tries to connect you with. But I'm not going to pay attention to that. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click on all filters. And the filters that I usually look for, I'm going to go to location. And there's a little city south of Fresno that, you know, let's say I want to search there today. So I'm going to search in Visalia. That's just not too far from where I live. And then another one, I am going to put second degree. If you check third degree, you're actually not going to be able to contact those people. It's going to say you have an in-mail and you have to pay for that. So I'm sticking to second-degree connections. And industry. One of my favorites is education. So teachers, primary, secondary. There's all sorts of industries, and I play around with this all the time. I'm just choosing this one today because if you didn't know, now you do. MLMs, specifically multi-level marketing, and even Beachbody. Just look around. So many teachers do very well in this business because they're really good at training. And they are underpaid for how much work they do, right? So that's one of my favorites to search. So I'm going to search primary, secondary education, and I am going to apply that filter. And then I'm going to go through and just invite. And as you can see, I've already done this search before, so I've invited all these people. I'm just going to search. Oh, I have not invited her, so I'm going to send. Now, the reason I don't add a note is because when she receives this message, where that note goes, she can actually barely read it. I used to send it, and then I realized I don't even think they can see it. It's just the way LinkedIn processes it, and so it's totally pointless in my opinion. So I'm just going to send the connect request, and I'm going to go through and remember my goal is about 15 to 20 a day. So then after that, I want to go back and see who accepted my connect request from yesterday or the day before. So I'm going to go back to my network up here, and I'm going to go to my connections, and I'm going to click on see all. These are people, see, she accepted 20 hours ago, a day ago. You're going to have to remember when you did this last. And for me, up until this gal right here, I've already messaged these folks. So I'm going to start with my 2 days ago. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to open, whoops, I'm going to get out of that and get out of that. Okay, and I'm going to open every single one of these in a second tab, just like that. I'm going to open all of them up until they're all open, until I've got every single one of these tabs open. I'm going to go over here to the first one, and I am going to message Kathleen, and I'm going to say, hi, Kathleen. Thank you for the connect. Nice to virtually meet you. I am going to copy just that part of the message because I'm going to do it again. But then I'm going to actually ask something very specific of Kathleen. I'm going to look at her page. She's an educator at the community college district. Awesome. She's accomplished marketing, communications. She has a lot of experience in media communications. Okay, so I'm just going to try and ask a question. You have a very interesting, actually, I'm not going to say interesting, I'm going to say extensive because she's really proud of that. So extensive background in marketing. How did you get involved in education? And that's it. So I'm just going to end with a question, and I'm going to go ahead and send that to her. Then I'm going to go to the next person, and she's an instructor here in town, and I'm going to say hi, make sure I spell her name right, and then I'm going to hit Control Paste. I want to just double check. Okay, I got 2 B's in there. I'm spelling the name right. Okay, thank you for the connect. Nice to virtually meet you. How did you get into teaching at San Joaquin? Clearly spelling is not my thing, guys. J-A-J-O-A. Did I mention English is my 3rd language? San Joaquin College. And that's it. I'm going to send that, okay? And I'm going to do that with every single person. I'm going to personalize the first line, hit copy and paste, and then ask a very specific question based off of their profile. Okay, I'm going to stop the share now and ask if you have any questions so far.
I'm going to ask a question real quick.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat similar to what I do on Facebook in a way. Asking that question. But I love that we can cut short the forming process on this platform. But my question is, like, just your average, how many on average do you have respond? Like, let's say you send out 15.
I might get, let's say if I sent out, usually it's about 20 a day. I might get like 7 to 8 responses, but I can almost always book 2 to 3 I'm going to walk you guys through what else I say. I can usually book 2 to 3 actual coach conversations over the phone every single day.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I can get usually 2 to 3 people actually willing to talk to me every day.
Perfect.
So the next step is, let's say they respond. They'll say, this is how I got into that. And I'm going to cut to the chase. I'm going to say, that's awesome. Are you open to learning about other income? So are you open to learning about other income earning opportunities? That's it. That's my line. And if they, a lot of the times it's like, yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, I really do get responses like that quite often. If they respond at all. And sometimes the people that don't, it's just, you just need a second message to them. Like, hey, I didn't hear back. You know, I wanted to make sure that I introduce myself because we're connected. You know, how did you get into your field? So I will send a second one because that sometimes does work. So you don't want to just dismiss the people that don't respond to you. If they say, yes, sure, I'm open to chatting. At that point, you're going to recruit however you usually recruit. For me on LinkedIn, I find it's best to say, do you have 10 minutes to hop on the phone? Because that's what recruiters do. You can take the other, if you have a different process, like a sneak peek or a video, but those methods on LinkedIn did not work as well because I felt like immediately their flags came up of like, oh, this is not really an income earning opportunity, or they started to get weird. If I say, let's just jump on the phone for 10 minutes, my process over the phone is very simple. Ask about them, just like you would off of Facebook or anything else. Ask about them. Have them tell you about them. Tell them a little snippet of your story. And my story is the corporate transition, you know, because they can understand that. And then I tell a short version of the Beachbody story. I start with, are you familiar with P90X or Insanity? And like, you guys know what that's like. It's like 99% of people are like, oh yeah, of course I know what that is. I'm like, yeah, that's the company I represent. And after that, this is the question that I think is most important, because remember, we're recruiting here, but I have sold many people a challenge pack and put them in my challenge groups who were not ready for coaching and ended up seeing results and then became coaches. So we don't want to assume that if they're not ready to join as a business starter, that they can't join us for their own personal benefit. So this is the question I ask. I say, when I use the word, I'm curious, when I use the words health and fitness, what comes to your mind? And here's what I'm looking for, one of 2 buckets. And it doesn't matter which one. There's no like right answer. They're either going to say, oh my gosh, I'm so into health and fitness. I love it. That's like something I would love to be able to do as a profession. Or they're going to say, you know, I got to be honest with you. My own health and fitness game is just not where I want it to be. And all that's telling me, it doesn't mean they can't be a coach in either bucket, but I'm just going to talk about it a little different. First option, I'm going to say, well, that's great, because, you know, that's what this allows you to do is you're already passionate about this, and now you can share this with others. The second bucket, I'm going to say something along the lines of, well, then you remind me a lot of me, because when I became a coach, I was not where I wanted to be. But what I realized was that if I could have my friends do the same program with me, I was much more likely to actually get up and do it. And so it just depends on which way you're going to talk to them at that point. If their interest is piqued further, then I'm going to actually either, we do a monthly coach sneak peek where it's like an hour-long presentation. So I'm actually going to either invite them to that if it's within like a 48-hour window, or if I really feel like this person's like actually interested, then I'm going to do a Zoom call with them and do a presentation. Okay. The people I have gotten from LinkedIn work the business a lot faster. I'm going to tell you guys that right now. My 2 last diamonds that I had last year both hit within less than 90 days. And they both came off of LinkedIn, and they're still diamonds today. There's still a ton of people who don't have that story, but because you're approaching it as a business, like the minute they sign up, we're going straight to training. And they're in a challenge group right away, right? Like they still have to fall in love with the product. Okay. Now, what I didn't mention today are your current connections. I don't want you guys to ignore those. For me, that was actually what I tackled first. But those don't have as much of a process because you probably know a lot of them. So that conversation is going to be a little bit different, and you're going to have to feel that out. If you have strangers that you're connected to, then approach it the exact same way. Okay. Let me look at the chat. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions for me? I know it's a lot of info, but like kind of Scotty mentioned, it is a lot of stuff you already know, the talking to people, and it's really just learning how to use the search and all that stuff. And after that, it gives you a lot of opportunity to connect with new people pretty fast.
I like that. I'm thinking about using this platform, and I'm just curious, this could go outside of LinkedIn as well. What process do you use, Z, for tracking your contacts?
Streak.
Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, Streak is what I use.
Streak. Okay.
Yeah, Streak. I did have Teamsy for a while. I like Streak. For me, it seems to have just been like the cleanest because I can move people along in a pipeline. And I have different pipelines, one for challengers, one for coaches, one for potential coaches. And so and the cool thing about LinkedIn Connections, which is absolutely amazing, you guys, like look how much people pay to get email addresses. The minute you're connected with someone, you actually have access to their email address. Not that I recommend you go out and spam them immediately, I want to use that respectfully, but those 3,400 connections I have, I actually can download, and I do this, a file from LinkedIn with every single person's email address. So that's another reason I like Streak, because it's through Gmail. And so the minute I send someone anything, or they even fill out my Google form, it automatically populates into Streak for me.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have questions? Don't be shy. I'm thinking about Z, and this is for not only you, but everybody on this call. Like, I remember talking with someone one time, because a lot of times when you see someone successful like Z is, or like what I've done, you're like, man, they must talk to like thousands of people, like 10 people a day on the phone, or like 20 people. Like, how are they doing what they're doing? And I was at a GoPro event, and they shared that the top producers of any company in a network marketing or MLM company are getting on the phone with one person every single day. So like 30 people a month. They're getting on the phone with a brand new prospect every single day. And guys, here we have this gold nugget that Z is saying that doing this is getting her on the phone with 2 to 3 people a day. So I want you to think about that, and I think it's important that we all hear that sometimes, because I remember as a new coach, I saw Lindsay at like SC20, and I'm like barely getting my 4, wondering where the next 6 are coming from. Just being like, man, she must have like people knocking on her door all day long asking for challenge packs or something. But the reality is she was most likely doing exactly what Z is talking about right here, making contacts and getting on the phone with them.
It's cool what you said about the one, though, because I was showing my husband how to use LinkedIn, and he didn't believe me on like 2 to 3 calls. And as I was like actually sending messages like I did with you guys, this girl immediately writes back, and she's like, absolutely. And we got on the phone right there in front of my husband, and he was shocked that you could actually like get on the phone that fast with someone. But what you don't see are like the 15 people that totally ignore me every day too. So I do want to make sure you guys realize there's both sides of it. But back to the one, I have like this daily to-do list that I follow, and one of the items on there is book a coach call every day. It doesn't mean I have to get on the phone every day. I have to book a coach call every day. So if I'm always booking one ahead of time, some days I might have 3, some days 4, some days none. But I don't want to stop today until I book a call off of LinkedIn. Like I just want to book one in advance. So this morning, I booked one for Thursday, so tomorrow. And she we went back and forth, times trying to figure out, and she finally said, how about tomorrow morning? So we're talking. So I booked it. I did my job today. I booked a call. And that's always my goal each day, is to book one for future, and then I'll never run out of them. That's kind of how I see it.
Perfect. I'm writing that down. Book one call a day. I love, like, a lot of when you see somebody doing something that's successful, that there oftentimes there's many people doing the same thing. Like my goal is to book 2 prospect calls a day, and usually one of them bells on me.
Yeah.
Usually one of them has something come up, or they got to run and take their son to school or anything. There's always going to be something. So I love that. Book one call a day, because that's something you have control over. You don't have control over if they show up or not. So
no, and I used to do that. Like I'm going to have one a day, and it gets really frustrating because you are going to get flaked on. I mean, that's going to happen, obviously. But if I can always book a new one, then I've always got my calendar full for the future.
awesome.
Yeah.
I have a question. I don't know if you were going to hit on this. Sorry, I'm taking all the questions because everyone's being quiet. What do you do? I know you gave some tips about content at the beginning, like don't put before after pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I know we could go look at it later, but
You can do before and afters. I don't want you guys to tell you, I don't want to tell you not to, but
yeah.
There is still a conservative feel on LinkedIn is what I mean. You know, that's why I say you should be careful of that. So sorry, I interrupted you, but I wanted to make sure you guys know you can, but that's my opinion on it.
Okay. So I've put a couple posts on there before. I'll have to send it to you and see, and you can kind of let me know. It's like, is this something that you do put on?
Yeah.
Then something from my personal development book about happiness at work and like
that's like the best stuff you can put on there is personal development. If you guys qualified for Success Club trips, blast that stuff all over because people on LinkedIn are talking about their President's Club. And for me, like one of the things in my company where I was at, you could not take your spouse on your President's Club trip with you. So all year long, I would work so hard to qualify for this event. My husband was very much a part of my stress level, right? And then I get to go like hang out in the Bahamas and he can't join me. And so you can bet when, Todd and I both qualify for these trips, it's all over my LinkedIn. Like, I'm so excited. Like, my husband gets to be a part of this. I'm not blasting my old company, but I am absolutely putting it out there that we are both going on these trips. So you do want to talk about trips. Personal development is awesome. You can share fitness tips too. And maybe being a guy, it's different. I just feel like with, women and putting bikini shots on there, it has a conservative feel to it. And that may change down the road. You also have to know your market. Like I came from an HR background, and so a lot of my followers started there, and it's grown and evolved. But what they are expecting to see on Facebook is, and I don't want to attract people with shock factor. Like that's not my story, and it might be for you, but that's just not what works for me. What is my conversion rate from call to coach on average? Last year I was probably averaging about 11 new coaches a month. And I would say maybe half of them came from LinkedIn. Roughly the other ones came from like Facebook and stuff. This year I feel like it's picked up a little because I just have a much better pipeline now that I'm working. Like I have people I'm following up with from last year that said no, and I'm still staying in contact. But I'd say it's probably maybe 5 or 6 coaches a month right now. I did have 4 last week, all from LinkedIn. So I think it's picked up. Like I said, you have to be really strong on the follow-up because they're not going to move forward immediately. Some do, but not all. It's just like Facebook. You know what I mean? You're welcome, Samantha.
Okay, I caught some of that. Sorry, my little boy came in.
That's okay.
Okay, strong. Okay, I got that. Be strong on the follow-up. And I have another question. That was a great question, Samantha. And then we'll let you go. And do you have more presentation, or are we just on questions? Just so I know.
No, that's it for presentation, unless there's something else you guys want me to show you.
No, this is perfect. I have one last question.
Yeah.
And hopefully you didn't say it when I was talking to my boy.
Okay.
How consistently, like how often do you put up a content or a post on LinkedIn?
I don't post a lot.
Okay.
I don't post a lot. Honestly, the magic happens in the messages, in my opinion. So when I actually finally figured out how to do this right, there was another network marketer that I saw doing this, and I talked to him about it. And he actually said, forget your feed. I wouldn't go so far because I have gotten some things that come out of my feed. I always do my Google form in there. And there's been people that have applied for coaching on there or applied for my challenge groups. So I wouldn't say forget it, but my feed is definitely not what I build on LinkedIn. I would rather put my time into Instagram stories, honestly. Of all the feeds, and focus on LinkedIn messaging.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I think, as I think about what you're saying, I would, I think my plan, just so everybody knows, what I would probably do is maybe once a week, the best of your content of teaching from your personal development.
Really good idea.
To kind of give some credibility or something that you kind of know what you're talking about.
You
Okay,
can also
awesome.
do articles on LinkedIn. Like if you go on my page, I've done a couple. You could do articles. The live video is brand new. So if you get, like when you get approved for it, like have at it. That might actually blow up. I'm going to play around with it. I have no idea what to expect. But it's cool because imagine like if you had been on Instagram stories like the day it came out, right? That's kind of how live video is on LinkedIn right now. Like only few people are getting it and they're slowly rolling it out. And so if you get it, like go live, just jump on. That's my tip with that.
Awesome. Okay, I appreciate it. Does anybody else have any questions before we let Z go? Okay,
Good
awesome.
luck, you guys. Have fun with it.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate all the tips. I have 2 full pages of notes right here because I'm going to dig into this because I'll be honest, like I'm struggling a little bit finding people. It's not as easy as it used to be for me, like I used to on my blog. So I'm digging hardcore into Instagram stories, and then I'm going to use LinkedIn with a couple of you guys and see if we can make some awesome connections and find some amazing people for this team. So we'll see you guys later on next week's
Bye,
call.
guys.
Thanks again, Z. Bye-bye.
Bye.